up, guys? Okay, let me get my water ready because I got a lot to talk about. Okay. Gawatsi, Gautawae. Hi, hello. My name's Mc Kenna, and quickly before we get started, I would like to give thanks to my mom who put me in swim lessons and put me in my lifeguarding class against my will. So thanks, Mom. I would also like to give a shout out to my mentor, Deanne Grant, for guiding me to find my passion. With that being said, now let me take you on a journey. So this conversation, I would have conversations with classmates about where I work, what I do, and then when they would find out I'm a lifeguard and a water safety instructor, I would always hear the same comments of like, oh my God, I don't know how to swim. Can you teach me how to swim? For free though. And they would always say those comments, I've heard it all, but it kind of made me start to think of why. And some of these peers would tell me that coming to Fort Lewis was the first time they ever left the reservation, so they just never really got the opportunity. So I started some basic research with the CDC. I learned that drowning is the #1 leading cause of death for children ages 1 to 4, and Black children drown at rates 7.6 times higher than white children. So I have all this information, and it led me to develop my thesis, which is how does institutional racism and intergenerational trauma correlate to minority populations having lack of access and opportunity to swim lessons, therefore causing these higher drowning rates? So my sociological alarm bells in my head started going off, like there's something more to this I need to learn, and I need to figure it out, and this is kind of my research of how I went more in depth about it. Okay, so we have the history of segregation. You have white versus colored pools. There are a lot more white pools in residential communities. There's more access to them, they're maintained very well, and there's just more access to them. Whereas colored pools were usually on the outskirts of these communities, there's less of them. Pool chemicals weren't maintained as well, and also they were usually vandalized. Next goes into American Indian boarding schools. With American Indian boarding schools, they were taught domestic household chores, and they were exposed to some recreational sports, but none of those recreational sports included swimming. Along with that, this kind of shifted Natives' views on Western education, higher education, and we'll come back to that. Next is rural areas. So with rural areas like reservations, there's no rec centers with swim lessons being offered. There's usually ponds, reservoirs, and even then, most drownings on reservations happen in irrigation ditches. Next is socioeconomic status. With socioeconomic status, lower economic classes don't have the opportunity and access to swim lessons. They can't afford it. Along with that, kind of ties in with household status. So you have dual parent versus single parent households. When you have a dual parent household, you usually have a dual income. With dual income, that creates more opportunity to be able to afford these swim lessons. If you're like me, who is raised by a single mother who can't swim, you aren't exposed to the water. Now, in a USA Swimming survey, in the International Journal of Aquatic Research, it showed that if you have dual parents household and one parent knows how to swim and another parent doesn't know how to swim, the parent that knows how to swim will take their kids to the pool, maybe teach them some things. But again, if you're like me and your mom doesn't know how to swim, she won't teach you how to swim. Next is culture and religion. With culture and religion, there's, for example, the Muslim religion. They wear very heavy, full coverage clothing. It makes their ability to swim a lot harder. It weighs it down. They can't swim as easily. Along with that, another example is the Minnesota Ojibwe people. They have certain cultural practices where if women are on their menstrual cycle, they cannot go swimming. Something I found super fascinating in a USA Swimming survey is that Black participants unveiled that they don't go to the pool because they don't like what chlorine does to their curl pattern. As someone who doesn't have super curly hair, I never thought about that. It was super interesting. So I've been a lifeguard for 8 years now. 8 years now. I've seen people drown. But after reading all these statistics and these stories, drowning was all I thought about. It made work more stressful, and I just felt this urge to take action. So here's kind of what I did. In the US, there's an average of 4,000 drownings a year. That's 10 drownings a day, 10 drowning deaths a day. And I also learned that by taking one session of swim lessons, you'll reduce the risk of drowning by 80%. Now, what this means, if you teach children, water safety skills and survival swimming, then they will be less likely to fatally drown. So with these, I spun it into a public health issue. I applied for a grant, and woohoo, I got the grant. Along with that, I was talking to the right people in the community, and I was able to receive 2 more private donations. With that funding, I was able to create Waves for Equality, swim initiatives for community health impact. Woohoo! Or, as the children called it on the first day, free Indian swim school. To that, I said, whoa, BIPOC swim lessons. So now with this funding, I was able to collaborate with an artist from my tribe, and he created this super amazing poster and my PowerPoint slides. I was able to rent pool time. I bought goggles, swim toys, and most importantly, I was able to hire and pay my awesome swim instructors. Woo! My awesome swim instructors. Yes, please. I couldn't have done it without them. Okay, so with all this funding, I was able to afford to put on 2 sessions of swim lessons. The first session was last semester, and I had a total of 9 participants and 4 swim instructors, including myself. The second session of swim lessons during the spring semester, I had a total of 15 participants and 7 swim instructors, not including myself. This time, I was just able to organize, make observations, and talk to parents. And as I would talk to parents, they would be like, we're grateful you're doing this, but why are you doing this? And to that, I just said, I just felt an urge to take action, a call for action. Woohoo, okay, sorry. So I really enjoyed being able to talk to these parents because hearing personal stories about why my participants never learned how to swim was just confirming all of this research that I just mentioned to you. So with that, my mom is in a quilt club. Her and her quilt club decided to make blankets for my swim instructors as a thank you gift. So again, thank you, Mom. Okay, so as people were signing up for my swim lessons, they thought it was for children. But swimming is a life skill that everyone should have. So it was really cool to see all ages come together. I had participants ages 18 months to college aged. It was really cool to see those people from the beginning, my conversations with my classmates, to kind of come back around and take my swim lessons. It was super awesome. We had all types of swim levels. We had kids learning to put their face in the water, to blow bubbles, treading, swimming on their own, stroke technique, everything along that. In the second session, we had 4 reoccurring students, which was super awesome. And yeah, on the first day, we had a few participants say, I will not go below my knees. I will not put my face in the water. They were very adamant about it. But by the end of the hour-and-a-half swim lesson, they were going underwater. They were going under the features. They were getting rings from the bottom of the pool. And even one kid went around the river for the first time, and he said, "This is so awesome!" And by the end of the session, these kids went from not wanting to go in the water to we had to drag them out of the pool. We were like, it's time to go home. The pool is closing. And it was just super awesome, super rewarding. Now I'm overwhelmed by the amount of support that I have received from community members, coworkers, family, friends. But if I could leave you with one thing from this presentation, it would be, if you cannot swim, no matter what age you are, please go out and sign up for swim lessons because swimming is a life skill. Duae, thank you.